Another thing that we're going to be following closely today, a major moment today for President Trump's mounting legal troubles. He is expected to appear in a New York courtroom for the start of his civil fraud trial, which poses a real significant threat to his business empire. It's a case President Trump has called a sham. A judge has already ruled that the former president committed fraud as head of the Trump Organization by manipulating asset valuations to get tax breaks or receive better loans from banks as needed. And now what's left to decide is for the judge to determine how stinging those penalties are actually going to be. Dre Clark has more from New York City this morning. Dre, how are things shaping up there on the ground?
Markie, good morning. As we are getting closer to the start of the trial here, we're noticing a lot more security now getting into place, another clear indication that the former president will be here today for the start of his fraud trial. Now, Mr. Trump's decision to come to court today was voluntary, not mandatory. He says he's coming here to fight for his name and reputation. Opening statements are set to begin at 10 o'clock this morning, and there is a lot at stake for Mr. Trump and his family's real estate empire. He faces the possibility of having to pay millions of dollars in fines and potentially also having to dissolve some of his real estate holdings that have really made him a brand name here in New York City. Now, New York State Attorney General Letitia James actually formally brought these fraud charges against Donald Trump last year. She alleges Trump falsified business records and greatly inflated the values of his real estate assets in order to get better terms on loans. She is also hoping the judge in the case will make Trump pay a $250 million fine and block him from doing business here in the state of New York. Last week, the judge issued a partial ruling saying that Mr. Trump had lied about his net worth for years or decades and that he committed fraud by overvaluing properties like his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida and his New York City penthouse, again, to secure loans and lower insurance rates. The judge also revoking some of Trump's business licenses. Now, Trump called the judge's ruling, quote, the corporate death penalty, also saying on Truth Social, I have a deranged Trump-hating judge who railroaded this fake case through a New York State court at a speed never before seen. Now, Mr. Trump, his children, Don Jr., Eric, and Ivanka, and other business associates may be called to testify at trial. This trial could take several months to conclude because we understand the list of witnesses is very extensive. Also important to note, this is not a jury trial, it's a bench trial. And legal experts say if the judge rules against Trump in a substantial way, it could devastate his business empire here in New York.
Much of the Trump Organization is in New York, has entities that are apparently separate corporations, but all in New York. There's a question as to whether or not those are going to have to be sold or whether they're simply going to be managed by someone that the court appoints more in kind of sort of as a more like a receiver, or whether the court's going to require the dissolution and the sales of these properties.
And Donald Trump has not indicated if he plans to say anything to the media before or after the start of trial later this morning. It's also unclear if he plans to attend the trial frequently or sparingly, but he has called this fraud trial nothing more than a sham. Meanwhile, just a few minutes ago, New York State Attorney General Letitia James released a statement ahead of the trial start this morning, and I just want to read what it says in part. I'm quoting here. She says, no matter how rich or powerful you are, there are not two sets of laws for people in this country. The rule of law must apply equally to everyone, and it is my responsibility to make sure that it does. Adrienne, Markie?
I know that's been the script that she's been reading from this whole time. Still, there are questions as to what an independent investigation of those properties and their valuations might conclude, considering the judge is accusing the former president of overvaluing them. Some might say the judge is devaluing them. Dre, we're going to talk more about that with Sean Spicer a little later on this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.